This video has been coming for a good while, in all honesty, and it was only a matter of time before I decided to make something like this. Even though I've spoken about this topic tangentially in many other videos, I've had longer form discussions with other people online about it, well, I want to do a dedicated one right now. And it's addressing one of the more fundamental problems that I think we're facing in the world today. It's basically just how unhappy men and women, people, really seem to be heading towards. They're more unhappy than ever before, especially young people. Now, I'm going to be speaking more to young men because I can understand the challenges that they're facing on a personal level. And it's honestly breaking my heart seeing what's happening in the world and the struggle that many of you guys who are my fans and viewers watching, and hence why I'm making this video. It comes from a number of reasons. Really, I guess the main reason, there's a big reason why I want to make this, because it doesn't seem like a lot of you guys don't know what you need to achieve in life to find satisfaction as an individual, happiness for who you are, being proud of who you are, being confident with who you are, and finding purpose in life. I think a lot of people, young men and women, know fundamentally what that is. The sense that I get, and it's been voiced by a number of you, and it's shared a lot online, is that you feel that it's impossible to achieve. And that's the most tragic thing. Because that attitude right there is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't believe that you'll find happiness and fulfillment and purpose in life, you're going to stop trying to achieve it. And if you stop trying to achieve that, you'll never get it. And so, of course, that's going to be the result. That's the great tragedy of this whole situation. I'm not saying it isn't hard. In actual fact, I think it's probably harder now, more now than ever. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Because in trying, even if you fail at the end, you're going to have lived a more satisfying and fulfilling life than if you've just given up and you turn into a hermit, checking out of society and trying to achieve that goal, happiness, fulfillment, and purpose. And then there's the other side to that as well in trying. There's a good chance that you might actually succeed at it. I'm speaking genuinely, and this is not the co-opted use of this term. I am speaking from a position of privilege in this, because I am married to one of the most, the most amazing woman in the world. And I have 5 of the most incredible children in the world. And they are the greatest source of happiness I can express, I've ever experienced. They are my life. They are what give me purpose. They are what give me drive to get up even when I feel crippled from exhaustion, to keep going, because they are mine. And I belong to them. And it makes the drudgery of life have purpose and fulfillment. And suddenly I feel satisfied with who I am and what I'm doing in life, because what I do matters to them. And I want you to have that. And it breaks my heart that so many of you think you can't achieve it. Part of this, fundamentally, is required upon you becoming better and improving yourself. Fundamentally, and this goes for men and women, It requires you both trying to become better for multiple reasons. For your own sake, absolutely. But for the sake of your future spouse. That's the goal. One of the sentiments that has been shared in comments to our own videos here, but is also shared a lot online, is that where are the good men and the good women? The young men and young women. How can a young man who wants this, the greatest source of happiness, fulfillment, and purpose that you'll find in your life, which is, yes, family, okay? Get married, women find a good husband, men find a good wife, raise a family, and do it right. I'm not saying there aren't heartaches. I'm not saying there can't be tragedies that happen along the way or that these relationships break down, okay? What I am saying is when done right, they are absolutely the greatest source of happiness and fulfillment you will ever have in your life. There are exceptions. Don't care. Okay, if we want to help the most amount of people in the world, if we want to help the most women and the most men in the world, this is the message we need to say. If we start catering and saying, giving up on this standard of happiness for life and stop promoting it for the sake of people who think that, and even they promote that they know that's not for them and they get offended when people promote it, we ruin and make people check out of trying to achieve this for the vast majority of people who need it. So no, we can't stop saying that. This is the greatest source of happiness and fulfillment. Men find a good woman, women find a good man, build a family and life together, support one another, and your life will be happier and better, and you will find purpose in it to a greater extent than you can probably comprehend at this point. This is where I'm speaking from a point of privilege because I am experiencing it, and it is the greatest thing in my life, and I want you to have that. So it's acknowledging that that is the goal, and then confronting the difficulties and being willing to try and overcome them. Because, yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of young guys in the world who are not waking up, who are not trying to build themselves and build their better lives and improve themselves and become the type of man they need to be to find a good woman. And it goes both ways. Seems like there's a lot of women in the world who are not doing what they need to do to attract a good man, okay? But there are people like that in the world, good men and women. They're harder to find. Seems like the world is trying to reduce that. And for me, I see it feels like especially for men, when they're constantly denigrated and told that they're inherently violent and that they need to be taught not to do horrific things, as if they wouldn't know that inherently, that they don't have an internal conscience to determine what's right and wrong. No, they need to be taught not to rape. And if not, they will become raping, misogynistic, vile, abusive scum. If you tell young men that they are like that enough, the danger is that they might actually start to believe it. And you wonder why so many guys are checking out on society and giving up on trying to improve themselves when they're constantly vilified. Well, let me tell you, you are not a villain. In actual fact, you have such incredible potential to make such an incredible success out of your life that you don't comprehend it. You just need to understand that, grasp it, and realize how valuable you are. And that is important, because as soon as you know that you are valuable, don't accept second standards. Don't throw yourself at a girl just because she gives you attention. You need to find the right girl and know that you have value, and people need to earn your attention and your willingness to support them. And it goes both ways. Women, you need to do that as well. You need to value who you are. Don't give away. When I say don't give away, your affection, your devotion, and your love flippantly. Men and women, save the best things that you're willing to offer someone else for someone who deserves it. And to do that, the fundamental kind of interaction and goals between relationships, especially what's being promoted in between young men and young women, needs to be ripped out of your head. The goals of relationships is to not hook up. The goal, if you really want to achieve this happy ending, which is the greatest source of fulfillment and happiness you will find in your life, you need to look for it properly. That's not looking for someone hot that you can hook up with. That's looking for someone who has the qualities and characteristics that you would want to spend the rest of your life with them. The purpose of dating, and you need it, this is one of the most fundamental switches you need to make in your mind. Your interactions for potential partnership in the future needs to be with the goal of finding the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, not to get in their pants. Get that out of there. So to achieve this, to find purpose, happiness, fulfillment in building a family in the future, first you need to start improving yourself in a constructive and determined manner. I'm not saying get from 0 to 100 or wherever you are on that scale. I'm saying start trying to turn yourself into the type of person that your future spouse would want to spend the rest of their life with. Even if it's just one thing, start doing something productive, start developing a skill, start trying to get fitter and healthier. And look, whenever people say that, they always are you fat, fit and healthy? I'm a lot more fit and healthy than I would be if I didn't have something that I found I could enjoy and commit to a level of exercise with. And for me, it's sword fighting, something really nerdy and geeky. Yet thanks to that, I found a passion, something I love that actually helps me better myself at the same time. And here's the hot controversial take, which was just basic fundamental truth once upon a time. Most of you young men will find great satisfaction out of providing and protecting for a wife and a family in the future. And you're going to find fulfillment in doing that, and it'll give purpose to everything else you need to do to achieve it. Even if it's working at a dead-end job, going to the coal mines, because you're doing it for those ones you have responsibility over, you will get fulfillment out of that in achieving. And so it's working towards making yourself better at achieving that, providing and protecting. And for women, that actually also means working at the same tasks that will make you the most attractive prospect for your future spouse. Yes, homemaking. Learn how to cook. Learn how to raise children, sew dresses, even as old school as that, but you can even look at it in other ways. Learn how to support your future spouse, both men and women. Learn to do that. Next, start avoiding the types of behaviors that would cause your future partner in life that you want to find to respect you less, and start working on activities and characteristics, behaviors that would cause them to respect you more. And women, men, think internally about that. It's not that hard, okay? Guys, do you think your future spouse will respect you more or less if you're constantly looking at porn? Girls, do you think your future partner will respect you more and less if you're posting skimpy images of yourself online? And when you have that self-respect, both men and women, you will start to value yourself more and hold the type of people that you are looking at to spend your life with to a higher standard, because you hold yourself to a higher standard, and you rightly expect anyone who is approaching you who are claiming that they deserve you, you will feel more empowered to determine if they really do. There are good men and women in the world, and this is the thing. You guys are looking for each other. You just don't know how to find each other or recognize you when you see it, okay? And so you need to really understand and figure out the qualities that you are looking for in this partner. Men and women, we need each other, especially in building happiness together in this type of way, in the most fundamental, important way for the human race. Make a list of those qualities. What are the qualities that you need in a partner to be able to live with them and not only tolerate, but to want to continue spending your life with them for the rest of your life? Don't be overly picky. And guys, girls, if both of you are only thinking that you can only settle for a 10 out of 10, you're doing it wrong, okay? Like, this is the thing. When you find this person who actually has the qualities that you truly admire and love, okay? Of course, there's going to be physical attraction to begin with, right? But wherever they actually are on that scale, when you find that right person, they become a 10 out of 10. And no one else can even tempt to come close to that individual, because that's what actual love is, okay? So find the type of person that you will love. And it's about those qualities. I know this because this is what I did. Okay? Now, I'm not saying everyone to follow my exact example, but at the very least, you need to figure out who you are and who you want to live with. Okay? And for me, I had 4 to 5, I think it was 4 simple standards. First one, joint values. We needed to value the same things and want to achieve the same things in life. And of course, religion was an absolutely crucial element in regards to that. They needed to take these very important beliefs as seriously as me, and that we would hold to these standards equally as firmly. That is actually so crucial, that one right there, okay? Because one of the things that can really rip apart relationships is when each partner wants a different thing out of it. But if you want the same thing out of it, you start to work for that same joint goal. So perhaps that's one that I would suggest is probably a good one. And for me, that was the number 1 standard. Now, the next one is that for me, I needed someone who could laugh and didn't take themselves too seriously. They needed a sense of humor. That was important. Thirdly, they needed to be my intellectual equal. I never really entertained, because I wasn't attracted to, I guess, women who looked way smarter than me. Right? I wanted to feel equal to my partner. And in the same sense, I couldn't have a relationship with someone who was less intelligent than me. They needed to be my intellectual equal so we could challenge one another, but also communicate on an equal level. And so that was number 3. And fourthly, the last one, I needed to be attracted to them. They didn't need to be a 10 out of 10 knockout, because remember, they fill those other things, those other qualities, they become a 10 out of 10. Now, what was interesting about those very simple standards right there, they weren't that, picky, and I don't think you should be too picky. But it was so easy to see the girls who didn't meet those standards, and there was a lot of them actually. And all it took was one date for me to realize, you're not the one. Next. I wasn't trying to hook up. I was looking for someone to spend the rest of my life with, and for my own religious belief, to spend time in all eternity with. And so, when I found this unicorn, is it so difficult to find? There was probably, who knows, there might have been a number of people that could have qualified for those simple standards, but I found a wonderful woman who actually hit each one of those standards out of the park completely. And as a result, I recognized her very quickly. This is the part where I don't necessarily say you follow my example, because I dated my wife for 2 weeks before I proposed. We were married 2 months after, and now we've passed 13 years happily married, and we love each other even more now than ever before, with 5 children, and we are building one of the most incredible lives together, and is the source of my greatest joy. You need to spend enough time with them to know that they are the right one, clearly. For me, it wasn't that long. I had some divine help, I feel, in also getting confirmation that they were the right one. My wife was the right one. But girls and guys, look inward. Have a conversation with yourself and figure out what are the qualities that you need in a person that you would want to spend the rest of your life with, and start looking for it. Not for some fresh tale that you want to get in the pants of. No, stop that, okay? Look for someone you want to spend, because this is what I mean. People, if you think that these goals, happiness and purpose is impossible to achieve, here is a roadmap. Knowing the way actually isn't that difficult, but following through and committing to it, yeah, it'll be difficult, but the promise is it's worth it. There are heartbreaks along the way. Not everything works out. Those are the exceptions. You can not be one of those exceptions and find the happiness, a partner that will work together and will work out. And so figure out what those qualities are and start looking for them. Stop looking to hook up. Start looking for the person you want to marry. And this is the next big challenge that I find so many people face. They don't know where to find them. That is truly a difficult thing. I don't know if I have the answer. I know how I found mine. And I think I have a sneaking suspicion that places like Tinder and other dating apps also might not be the best place to find them either. It's actually might require you going out in the world and interacting with people, okay? Yeah, there's a lot of crazy people online. That's where they all congregate. So stop looking for them online, maybe, okay? Start looking for people in the real world. And how do you do that? By finding ways to interact with people in the real world. And by the way, I'm an introvert, and basically no one knows this side to me, is that I also suffer from social anxiety. It gets triggered in specific things, and so I can fake it rather well and also hide it, and I had to learn to overcome it. And so there's probably a lot of people, and I connect and understand with introverts like me, because I don't like socializing. But you know what I do like? Playing D&D or Magic the Gathering or using swords, okay? By finding a way to game your own brain, all right? To break through your own barriers and limitations, that's the way that you can find it. And so suddenly it wasn't about socializing and getting out in the world. It was about just doing things that I enjoyed and finding people who enjoyed them as well. And suddenly you're out there and you're socializing. How can you socialize with people of the opposite sex? Well, you need to also push and find for that. For me, it was through my church. And honestly, church is a great place to find people with joint values, if you have those values, all right? And probably after similar things that you want. I got to give a shout out to my own religion here. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And these values, which have led me to experiencing such a privileged life. And it's not privileged because I have a career on YouTube. In actual fact, that can be a cause of great stress. No, I'm privileged because I have an incredible wife and amazing children, and I have purpose as a result of that. Tremendous purpose and happiness. And the institution that taught me how to live my life to achieve it was 100% my faith. And that's taught to me by my parents and the way that I was brought up. And I'll be forever indebted to them for that. And look, I know there's a lot of people who feel religion isn't for them, all right? I tend to think that it's actually for everyone. Just give it a go and see, and it might be quite to your liking, actually. But I understand for a lot of you, it's a non-starter. But for a lot of others, you might have an open mind to this type of thing. And if you want to find an institution which actually is trying to raise men and women to be their best selves, to be the type of people who want to find a healthy relationship and build a family and stuff like that, that's one of the purposes of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, flat. It's to build eternal families. And so we are raised and encouraged and taught to be the best men and women we can be to achieve that goal. And so as a result, there's some really good prospects. I found the best, my wife, through that. It was at the Old Testament Institute, actually. We were studying the Bible in Hebrew. Hey, I wanted to find someone who took my religion as seriously as I do, and she was actually the only girl of my age in that class, and it got my attention. Already, there were boxes ticked. It's like joint values. She was clearly going to be smart if she was studying this type of stuff. And our first interaction also taught me that she had a sense of humor and she was cute. It was actually love at first sight, guys. It can happen sometimes. But there are organizations, young men's and young women's, which are segregated spaces where men exclusively teach young boys and men how to be men and to be good husbands, fathers, and providers. And young women's, it's a place where women teach young girls and women how to be great wives and mothers. And then when you mature, you still have those spaces, and these aren't like, oh no, men aren't allowed or women aren't allowed. These are spaces where women can support themselves and men can support themselves because men need their spaces. Like, so many men used to love going to kind of like men's clubs, and they would find companionship with other men and support and everything, because guys do need that. And so they're disappearing. And I'm very lucky that I was raised and I'm still part of an institution that has these spaces that men and women need to prosper. And as I said, once you start trying to better yourself, knowing the qualities that you're looking for, finding the person is the difficult part. And this is what worked for me. And trust me, it worked incredibly well. And so if you do want to find an environment that is promoting and teaching, and there are people who are also working towards to try and achieve those goals, go visit Latter-day Saint Church. There's missionaries everywhere. You can call them and everything, and trust me, they'll be very happy to say hi to you. And if that's not for you, look for ways to interact with people in the real world, all right? Because like I mentioned, for my church, they have an organization called Young Single Adults, specifically for young single adults. And the whole organization is structured around having activities that get young guys and young girls together to interact. And I went to a lot of activities that I was able to interact with my future wife, and because of those interactions, right, before even dating, we knew each other for a month before we started dating officially. I was sitting down at one of those activities, looking at her in the eyes, and I said to myself, I am going to marry this woman. And then when I officially asked her out, we dated for 2 weeks and I proposed, and we were married 2 months later. Having activities that cause people, men and young guys, young girls, to interact in wholesome ways, all right? Wholesome. That's the key. Not going to lewd, skanky clubs and dancing and crap like that, but actually having activities, interacting and speaking and getting to know one another is the way that you find the type of people that you will want to marry. And so if religion isn't for you, try and find institutions or organizations or clubs or activities. Like, if you're geeky like me, LARP might be one of those things. And then when you start interacting with people, be very selective about who you are considering to spend the rest of your life with. If you can tell that this person is not marriage material, doesn't matter how hot they are, pass, all right? Get that out. Stop it. Stop chasing the tail and start looking for the right person. And it is possible, okay? And remember, if you work at your life trying to improve yourself and be better, okay, build something out of your life, all right? And when not just physically building, okay, write, start a hobby, do art, do sport, do something that makes you more than what you currently are. And playing video games constantly, rarely does that. I'm not saying you can't get positive things out of video games. I love video games. And even if you spend your whole life and you don't find that special someone, you will be a better person still at the end of the journey, okay? And you will have lived a more happy and fulfilling life as a result. If you're unhappy and you don't have purpose or fulfillment, right? Here's the purpose right here. You have the goal, start working towards it. Even if it's not hopeless. Give up on the hopeless thing. But even if it doesn't work out at the end, you will be happier for it and be better for it, okay? So many people are saying that they are unhappy because they don't have purpose and their life isn't fulfilled. A lot of it is because you've given up too early, and trust me, the world doesn't encourage confidence, all right? There's a lot of lost young men out there who are just, yes, the old cliche, living in the basement, not doing anything with their lives. That is the reality. But if you're one of those, you have the power to change it, all right? I know I can connect because I could have easily been just like that and just like you if I didn't have people giving me the right kick up the ass and telling me what I need to do to find fulfillment and purpose, all right? And girls as well, start working on yourself to be the type of person your future spouse would want to spend the rest of their life with. That's the goal right there to begin with. And once you find that, the new goal is building that life together in joint unity and companionship and love. It's hard, but think about this. Please consider this, all right? The fact that there are so many young guys, they appear in the comments, I see you, you watch this channel, right? And there are so many of you that want this, but feel hopeless that it can't be achieved, proves that there's a lot of guys that want to achieve this. Girls, there's a whole lot of guys right here that are trying to work towards this thing. And all the girls complaining that are wanting a good man, all right, who will step up and actually be a man, all right? That shows that there's still a lot of girls out there that want you. You just need to become the type of person that they want. And it's not an unrealistic standard. It's just becoming a man and women becoming women. It's as simple as that. Knowing is simple. Becoming is a lifelong thing. But consider this. What is more respectable and what would attract someone more? Someone who's not even trying versus someone who is trying with all their heart, even though they're failing and they're stumbling along the way. They might not be achieving, but they never give up. What's more attractive even then? And if you never give up, what's a very likely possibility that you can achieve it? So find that purpose. The purpose is there. It's right there. And it starts with a choice. Make a choice right now that that's the goal. You can achieve it. The right person is out there for you. And it starts with small and simple things. Start working on yourself in one way. What is one small thing that you can work at right now? How long can you abstain from pornography, all right? Look, it is addictive, okay? And so I'm not saying cold turkey, because yes, giving up addictions like this can be very hard. But start working towards bettering yourself and seeing how long you can go getting away from it. And if you fail, start again. Starting from day one, how long can you last this time? And start working at it. And even someone who is still struggling with addiction but is actively working but still failing, yet they're working to overcome it, is a more attractive, respectable thing than someone who has just given up and not even trying. And so that can be the thing to attract the person who will want to spend the rest of their life with you. Start reading, start a hobby, start an activity that is more active. Do just one thing. One small and simple thing right now. That's all it takes. And then don't give up on it and keep working at it. Because it's through small and simple things that great things can come about.